evening and welcome along to Matchday Live here on LUTV. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are in the world, and tonight you can watch the game with us worldwide. All you need to do is scan the QR code that you can see on your screen and then you can watch along with us. Now I'm delighted to say that in the studio we have Jermaine Beckford. Bex, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. It feels like it's been ages, hasn't it?
It also feels eerily quiet here at Ellen Road.
Yep.
You can see the pitch behind us. It looks very dark here, and we were both saying we need the fans back here as soon as possible, don't we?
We absolutely do. It's a beautiful day, nice and warm.
Beautiful day.
Now, well, from in here it is.
Yeah.
It looks nice anyway, doesn't it?
Look, do you know what though? This is a mouth-watering clash. It's West versus East. We know that they are one of the informed sides in the Championship, Hull City. What are you expecting from them this evening, Jermaine?
Look, they've got a great home record, and they've got a great record this season so far as well. They're a few points above us, a few places above us as well. They dominate possession in all of the games they've played, all bar one, and I think that was against Leicester. But they still managed to pick up the victory. So I'm expecting them to be very dominant on the ball, but that might actually suit us with the pace that we have in the players that we have in the wide areas. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a tricky game, but it's going to be a fun game nonetheless.
Here's a little stat for you, Bex, and one that I'd rather not share, to be honest.
If it's not a great one for us, don't say it.
No, I want you to make us feel better about it, if that's all right. They haven't lost at home since November.
It's incredible. That is an incredible stat. And obviously, all good things must come to an end sometime. And who knows, today might be that day.
How do we stop them today?
Like I said, just I think hitting them on the counter-attack, playing that counter-attacking football, putting the ball out wide to Dan James, to William Nonto, get the ball forward to Piroe, nice and early. I think that's where we're going to get our success from. But defensively, as long as we do a lot of the things that we've seen over the last couple of games, I've been relatively impressed. So I think that's another area that's going to be super beneficial for us if we're all focused.
Well, we know that there's two changes for this Leeds United side tonight. Jamie Shackleton is in and Sam Byram is on the bench. Crescencio Somerville's on the bench as well, and Dan James is in. We've heard Daniel Farke talk in the build-up to this game about squad rotation, and we are going to hear more from him shortly, actually. But how difficult is it, Bex, first of all, when you've won, and secondly, when you look at the intensity of the Championship, how difficult is it to almost know when to rotate your squad? Well,
the hardest part is knowing, like you said, when to rotate your squad. So coming off the back of a victory, I quite like the idea of Daniel Farke rotating the squad. Reason being, nobody knows whether they're going to be in, whether they're not. So training in the lead up to that game is going to be sharp. Everybody's going to be fit and firing and hoping that the manager picks them to play in the game. Complacency doesn't have a chance to creep in when you don't know if you're going to start or not on a consistent, regular basis. And I think that's one of the areas that Daniel Farke has been fantastic with at the moment.
And I think that kind of ties into my next question about having, a few players in each role, because actually when you look at where we are now from where we were during the transfer window, that healthy competition has clearly helped them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the players to have benefited the most, I feel, is Jorginho Ruta. I think he's been fantastic. He knows now he's got a great opportunity that if he plays well and he's got a great relationship with Piroe up front, he's going to be playing. And we've seen the best of him. Last season, when he came in, there were elements of his game that I enjoyed. And you could see there was a little spark. There was something there, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. Now, we're seeing him enjoying himself. We're seeing him playing with a freedom, something that we hadn't seen last season. Now, I like that he's picking the ball up in deep areas. I'm loving that he's running out wide. He's bringing the ball infield. He's got a great connection with the other three players that he plays up top with. But he's just playing with, like I said, that freedom to just express yourself and have fun. And that's what he looks like he's doing.
Sorry, Bex. He's also, we have it on good authority, a very big personality, a very good personality, both on and off the pitch. How important is that for a player, do you think?
Ask all my teammates. No,
I dare.
There'll be one or two funny stories and they're lies as well, whatever they say. No, it's, look, if people like you in the changing room, you've got a much better opportunity to have that bond. and you're prepared to do far more for your teammates than if you don't like somebody. You're not going to pass it to them as often if you don't need to. But if you like somebody, you tend to pass the ball a lot more. You trust them as well, so you give them the ball in tricky situations, areas where it might be a little bit tight for them to get into initially, but you trust them. So I think it's paramount. It's so important that the players trust and like you.
Exactly. Well, like I say, it is eerily quiet here at Ellen Road this evening, but I'm pretty sure the atmosphere is going to be electric at the MKM Stadium tonight. So let's head over there and check in with our commentary team, Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
It's a cool evening here inside the MKM Stadium, as it's known these days. It's a familiar place for Leeds United to visit. The last time they came here in the Championship brought a really good win. They'll be hoping for something similar this evening, Tony.
They certainly will, yes. I think we've got the momentum now on our side. That's important as well. The understandings between a lot of the players, certainly Piroe and Jorginho up top, is working well. But you have to manage these 3 games in 6 days situation as well. So it's important that we get out here and put a good performance on. 4-0. Maybe not, but 1-0 would do nicely.
And is it the manager managing the situation in terms of the couple of changes that he's made to the side this evening?
Yeah, the thing is, because it's so early on in the season as well, and that momentum is starting to build, you don't really want to lose a lot of that. So a couple of changes, just to, I suppose, key players that maybe won't be able to do that 3 games in 6 days, but also a lot of players on the bench that are itching to get on that pitch as well. So it's a balancing act. I think at the early start of the season, the way we are at the moment, 2 changes is probably the maximum we should be doing.
The aim for whichever team is starting is to maintain the momentum from Millwall, isn't it?
It is, and that was a really important performance, because going to a difficult place and then seeing through those difficult moments, yes, we scored some lovely goals, but I think to win championships and to get promotion, you need to be solid at the back, and you're going to come against teams which will put you under pressure, whether it's for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, certainly at the start of games. So seeing them through, seeing those moments through, I think is really important, and we did that really well at Millwall.
In the midst of a raucous atmosphere, it should be a good atmosphere again for this one tonight.
It will, not far. Let's see how many we bring, but we know we're going to make a load of noise. But again, we need to understand that coming to places like this, it's their biggest game. Leeds are coming to town, and they're going to be absolutely fighting, and so are we.
A word that Tony used there, Bex, momentum.
Yep.
How important is that off the back of that result against Millwall?
Momentum is one of those things that it doesn't matter if you've won 4 games in a row, you've drawn 1-2, or whatever it may be. You're going into the next game full of confidence. You're not even worried that much about the opposition, whoever it is you may be up against. So in terms of momentum, the most important thing is doing the simple things well, doing the things that you did in the last couple of games, which work. We know how Leeds United play. We know how we set up now. We know the tactics and the formation that the manager likes to play. We know the patterns, the style that he likes to adopt as well. And it's just a matter of going out onto the pitch and doing it. So once you've got momentum and you've done it a few times, it just gets easier. You stop thinking about what you have to do, and it just becomes second nature.
Well, one man who's going to be hoping for plenty of momentum is Joel Piroe. Now, we know that it's Joel Piroe. I've been calling him Joel. Don't know about you.
I've been calling him Joel. His proper name.
I can only apologise that I've been saying it incorrectly, but it is officially Joel Piroe. Now, Of course, he has been in great form.
Yes.
Again, that consistency in terms of goal scoring, it's crucial, isn't it?
It definitely is. And what we're seeing with him as well is his confidence. From the very first game, I think Ipswich, he came in and it was like he'd been playing this game for Leeds United for ages. He had a great understanding of his movements, his teammates, the players that were around him, where he needed to be at what time. And I think in this clip here is one of my favourite ones, because he does a lovely little step over, continues his run. And we spoke briefly earlier about the trust that the players have within each other because they like each other. That shows nothing but trust, communication, and an understanding of your teammates as well. Because if you don't understand them, if you don't know where they're going to go, or if Jorginho Ruta takes one more touch, that whole sequence disappears in no time at all. But they know each other, they trust each other, and they're playing with such a a positive energy. They're all playing with smiles on their faces, and that's something that we've missed. We didn't see much of that last season, but that naturally comes with winning games as well.
He also looked very calm and collected in front of goal, didn't he?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why he was able to get, I think it was upwards of 45, 46 goals last season in just under 100 games, because he finds himself in the right areas at the right time. And when you do that, you're able to give yourself a better chance, a better opportunity of putting the ball in the back of the net, because you're prepared for it. You're not worried at all.
That attacking threat, though, what was impressive was how many of them were involved in those goals as well.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm really starting to buzz off. I'm really enjoying watching. You've got Ruta one side, you've got Nonto, Somerville, you've got Piroe, you've got Dan James. There's all of them are trying so hard to create such a great bond between each other that it doesn't matter who starts and who doesn't. As soon as they come on and they play with each other, it's seamless. Yeah. And they just have so much fun. I know through fact, when you're happy and you're excited, when you're playing with full confidence and you're smiling, you'll get the best out of them. And that's what we're seeing here. We're getting the best out of all of them.
And I imagine that Daniel Farke is very happy as well. Let's get his thoughts ahead of this game.
We have also lots of quality and players who are also pushing, and I'm not too concerned about this turnaround right now, but we also have to keep a bit in mind the complete picture, because players came back from international duties also with lots of traveling and sometimes with many minutes, and right now we have also a busy week with 3 games within 6 days. So in general, I think I'm not a friend of rotating too much, because this breaks and sometimes also the rhythm a little bit. But I'm always thinking about 1, 2, 3 positions. Anyhow, I think this is a healthy number, but we definitely won't change all 11 players. That's definitely right. I think it's a bit too early to judge it just after 1, 2, 3 weeks. So I think in general we are on a good path. I liked a lot that we were there with back-to-back clean sheets. I like a lot that we are right now 4 games unbeaten, 7 points out of the last 3 games, with 2 really difficult away games at Ipswich and also at Millwall. Also like the spirit at the moment, so you could sense really a good unity, togetherness, not just within our group, but also together with all the stuff, with the whole club. And yes, I think we're on a really good path, but we also have to stay aware and awake each every day that we don't lose this momentum and also don't lose this unity and togetherness. And it's one of my tasks also to work on it, but more or less the task for all of us, that we keep going as one unity, because you just can be successful in nowadays when you have a really good spirit within the club, good spirit within the group, good spirit within also the staff, and this is quite important. I just want to point out that I'm never too much over the moon when we are there with a good result, but also not too down when there's sometimes a setback. So that's the general nature of the championship. It's relentless, and you have to deal sometimes with setbacks. You have to deal also sometimes with lots of praise and lots of enthusiasm, and you always have to stay leveled and stay focused on what you can influence, and stay focused on hard work. But at the moment, I also don't want us that we lose the momentum, and also like that the players have right now a bit easier moments in comparison to a few weeks ago. So it seems that they play right now with a bit more freedom, with a bit more confidence, and they are definitely allowed and have the permission to keep going exactly like this.
He's always very level-headed, isn't he, Daniel Farke? But he must be delighted, and that comes across there with that result against Millwall. Yep. How much more difficult? I know we kind of touched on it, but you know, when you're winning, it must be, as much as it's great for him, it must almost make his job a little bit more difficult to know whether it be
when to rotate or not. Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the reasons why he's such a good manager, because he knows when to change players and when not to, when to bring them out and when to leave them. And we're seeing the best of some of the younger players that we've got in the squad now. We're seeing the best of them because he's pulling them out when need be. He's putting them back in. He's keeping that hunger between the squad. So I quite like what he's done. This young man, Ethan Ampadu, I don't want to see him being rested. He's an absolute vital cog in this machine that Daniel Farke has built. And he's had a great season so far. I know this is our 7th game this season, but he's been fantastic. He's been the linchpin that we've been screaming out for since Calvin's left.
It feels like we are just so collected now, aren't we, as a team? Daniel Farke also said as well in that press conference, Jermaine, he alluded to the fact that you can't get almost too carried away when you win or too disheartened when you lose. Do you think that's been the key to some of his success at other clubs?
Yeah, definitely, especially during his time at Norwich. Both times he was promoted as champions because they won a lot of games, a lot of games. And trying to keep players grounded and not let the egos kick in and say we're better than everybody else. It's a really difficult thing to do. For him to be able to do it twice with the same team, the same bunch of players, in the middle of getting relegated as well with the same bunch of players for the most part, that speaks volumes for him as a manager, as a person as well, being able to get those players to stay well balanced.
Would you have liked to have played for him?
I would have loved it. I wouldn't have done all the running that everybody else is doing. I don't like that bit. But no, I think he definitely gets the best out of everybody. Like I mentioned before, Jorginho Ruta, you've got Dan James as well, who's playing really well. Nonto, he had a bit of a shaky start to the season. Even he's come back in and he's been really, really good. So for him to be able to get the best out of those players immediately at the beginning of the season, I think that speaks volumes about him as a man.
And Joel Piroe as well with his 2 goals
against
you got it. Finally there. He's the man of the moment, and because of that, he faced the media at Thorpe Arch earlier this week.
I feel, well settled. I think the team, the club, they will help me really well. I think it's a big decision for myself. I think it's the moment where you can try to make a big step and like lose playing time and lose confidence, or keep playing a lot and like keep building as I've been doing. So I took playing as a midfield a little bit too literally. I played too far away from Georgie, and that's something we worked on more because they don't want to see me drop too deep, of course, but only in certain occasions. Let's take the second goal, for instance. I know Dan James is gonna hit it right-footed, and like when you think about it, the only really place where he should shoot it is the far post, and then just to be there to secure the goal. It's, I think, a little bit of common sense as well as smelling it. He gives us some trigger points to keep in mind, but he also wants to give us loads of freedom to just express ourselves and like work together really well. They try to coach me as well to work off Georgie, of course, and we all know that we need to be unselfish and like look for each other, and then just to let it happen like that, it's just our qualities as well, apart from good coaching. Everyone who reaches this level knows they have their own qualities, and it's no point in trying to be someone you're not. Scoring goals is what I want to do, but I'm just as happy if we just win. It's easy to settle in with this group. Like, they're all great lads. They welcomed me really well, and with some Dutch players, it's always easy to catch up. We've known each other for years already, and new relationships are built, like with Georgie, of course, and Willing Nonto. They're all very friendly and just really good lads. I've been buying furniture for my house most of the time, but now it's not much yet. I haven't really seen the city that much. I went once, but for now it's like just make sure I'm completely settled in here. I just think that the attack we have, the whole squad we have, is really, I wouldn't say above the standards of the championship, but we're certainly up there.
Bex, I want your opinion on something he said.
Yep.
Of course I want to score goals, but I'm just as happy if we win. Is that a lie?
Yes.
Yeah, knew it.
As a forward, your main objective is to score goals. That's what you're brought in for. And Fortunately, he's hit the ground running. So he's ticked that box. The second part, then after that, is winning. That's the order it comes in.
Yeah.
But look, when the team's playing really well, and his job is staying within the width of the 18-yard box, as high up the pitch as possible, where he's dangerous in front of goal, that's what he needs to do. Like he said, a few of his teammates have said to him, look, when you drop deep, we don't like that too much. We want you to stay where you're a threat. The rest of us can do all of the doggy work, dropping back in, doing all of the horrible stuff. We'll put the ball up to you and you work your magic. That's what he's there for, and he's done wonders so far.
He really has. Look, I want to talk about the opposition next, but first up, there is a WhatsApp number on the screen. Please do use that to send in any messages, score predictions, questions, pictures, whatever it may be, and we'll do our very best to read them out throughout the show. Hull City then. Obviously, we know that they're unbeaten since that first game of the season against Norwich. Are you expecting us to be trying to dominate possession there tonight, Bex, or almost try and get them on the counter?
Well, look, it depends how they turn up. To be honest with you, they're very good in and out of possession. Liam Rossini has done a wonderful job with them to get them in the position that they're currently in, playing the football that they are currently playing as well. But we're capable of playing on the counter-attack. We are also capable of playing possession-based football because of the high intensity that we play, because of the angles that we create as well. So I'm not worried too much about what they're going to do. I'm pretty sure that whatever it is they do, we'll be able to counter that and make it work in our benefit.
Yeah, how important is it going to be for us to withstand the inevitable waves of pressure that we're going to see, like we did in that game against Millwall?
Well, look, we know that the team are capable of doing it. Joe Rodon at the back has been absolutely fantastic. He's been solid. He leads by example as well. He's using that experience that he's picked up over the last few years really, really well, and it's benefiting the back line especially, and Meslier in goal. So as long as we do those simple things really, really well, make sure Ampadu comes in to cover whoever it is, Connolly or whoever else is trying to find the little gaps and spaces in between the fullbacks or in between the centre half and the centre midfield players, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to find a way to make that work for us really well.
Scoring first, how important is that going to be?
It's far more important to score first than to score second.
I like that logic there.
I'd much rather score first. Look, when you're up against a team that dominate possession, the way that Hull City have done in all games apart from the Leicester City game, if you're able to get the early goal or the first goal, it puts the pressure on them. You know, and that's where the pressure is better, when we leave it to the opposition. And
not conceding as well. I mean, that was one of the big stories, as much as the goals in that game against Millwall, was that we didn't concede. And that will have given them so much confidence. But again, how important is that in a game like tonight? It's very important, very important. I think more importantly than not conceding, I think will be the performance. Going forward, if we're able to score, we'll be able to score more than one, which will be better than what they're going to do. Defensively, I'm quite happy with what I've seen. We're solid, we're sound, we're organised, we're focused. Going forward, not a problem either. Are we focused enough to not concede tonight? What's your score prediction? I'm going to say we are going to win. What's your score prediction, Jermaine Beckford? I'll say 2-1 to Leeds United. Jermaine Beckford is saying 2-1. Right, yes. Then it is time to head back over to the MKM Stadium to join our commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. But first, let's get the thoughts of Dan James.
Well, to an extent, back on the old stomping ground here, aren't you, Dan? Yeah, it's a club that I owe a lot to. Obviously come through the academy from 9 till 15, and they did a lot for me before my move to Swansea. But now here with Leeds United, and obviously looking for a positive result tonight. What's the mood like going into this one in the group? Yeah, I think we've had and we started well before the break, international, and we've come back and we've started again really well. So we just want to keep up that good form. Do you feel like you might have set a standard for yourselves in terms of the performance level at Millwall? I think so, yeah. I think it's a game, 2 clean sheets on the bounce is massive, we want to continue that, and we're scoring goals, and as I said, we've got to keep doing that. Be a good atmosphere here tonight, won't there? There's a rivalry between these two clubs. Yeah, it's a good derby. I think it's sold out tonight, so I think it'll be a great game. Two good teams, two footballing teams, and I'm really looking forward to it. Welcome to the MKM Stadium, as it's called these days. Started life as the KC, then became the KCOM, now it's the MKM. Keep up. Whatever it's called, it's going to be full tonight for this game. Capacity crowd as Hull City welcome Leeds United back. Return of this rivalry, the M62 rivalry you might describe it as. We're at the eastern end of the M62 motorway, about an hour away from Leeds. Needless to say, plenty of away supporters have made that relatively short trip for this midweek fixture. Plenty more have come to follow Leeds from much further afield as well. So they're all looking forward to a game here. They hope to extend and build on the performance that was displayed and seen by all at Millwall on Sunday lunchtime. And hope to do it away from home again here. The 2 wins so far this championship season have both come on the road. Hull City have had a good start to their own championship season. They're a couple of points better off than Leeds and a little few places higher up the table as well. So they will feel that they are in a good place themselves for this big fixture this evening. They drew their last couple of home games, but they have won away at Leicester, and that was certainly the standout result so far in their start to the season. We await the arrival of the two teams. We've had their disco lights. We had a DJ in the build-up to the game as well. So Hull City cannot be accused of underselling the opening to this game. We've had the big beginning. We've had the flares, the fireworks going off. We've got the big tunes, the beats. Now we await the arrival of the two teams on the playing surface. All helps build the atmosphere, I guess, Tony.
Yes, it certainly does. We can just see them on the big screen now coming down the tunnel as well. So impressive stuff. But we want the main course, don't we? We want the match. We want to get on with this game because it really is an important one.
And a big roar goes up as the players emerge from down below, way down below, as we sit in our position right on the halfway line and right at the very back of the second tier of the main stand here. In front of us we have rows and rows of Hull City fans who taken to their feet to applaud their team onto the pitch. Hull City in their traditional amber and black stripes. Leeds United also traditionally dressed all in white for this game this evening. So the two teams in their first choice kits. A couple of changes for Leeds United's starting 11, with Shackleton and James coming in, and Sam Byram and Somerville, the two who miss out. And Hull have also made a couple of changes, including notably bringing their recent signing Ryan Alsop in as goalkeeper for the game this evening. He preferred to Matt Ingram, who's on the bench. The two teams break. Leeds go towards that travelling support. We acknowledge the gesture. Many of whom will have had tricky trips both down and back from London at the weekend for that midday start at Millwall on Sunday. I travelled back on the train myself, had a good opportunity to chat with lots of Leeds fans who are heading back north as well, or even in fact heading in some cases west, all over the place, and it just gives you a real sense of how many people travel such great distances to support Leeds United, who are fans there from Wiltshire and South Wales, north to far west of North Wales, who are all at Millwall on Sunday, and we're all planning to be here at Hull as well this evening, right on the easternmost tip in the northeast. Hull on the banks of the Humber. So we're all set up here for Leeds United to try and maintain momentum gained at Millwall. The two changes that have been made, is that about Daniel Farke recognising the fact that Sunday lunchtime, Wednesday evening, Saturday afternoon, 3 games in a short space of time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also a recognition of the fact that we need to maintain the momentum, and the team has been playing very well. You don't really want to change your winning side, but those 3 games in 6 days is a little bit much. So I think you look at the wide players we've got, you know, those 4 wingers are interchangeable. So Dan James this time comes in, and Jamie Shackleton. I think it's great that you know, he's getting that trust from the manager because he's played particularly well.
We have a minutes of pause prior to kickoff. to pay tribute to Colin Murphy, former Hull City manager who passed away recently. Great football man, Colin Murphy. So the preliminaries have come to an end, and we are now ready for the start of the action.